how we are designing structures of a protein. First of all, we are not going to do any wet lab work. Okay, means we are not going to produce structures like by using NMR or X-ray crystallography. We'll just model the proteins by using previously available structures. Means with the similar parts, we'll compare our protein with the similar parts of the structures which are already available in the database. Which database? Protein Data Bank database. Okay, please write this. We are going to compare our protein with the protein data bank database, as there are a lot of structures available related to proteins. We'll compare our own protein which don't have any structure. We'll compare our protein with the available structural sequences, and then we'll try to model our protein. And how to model that protein? There are two methods. If we are not able to find any related protein which is known as template, means first of all we have to select a template protein in order to model our unknown protein. Okay, there are two methods. One method is homology modeling and other method is threading. By using this homology modeling method, we can easily model our protein by using comparative analysis. First of all, please write what is homology modeling. Then we'll do practical on this homology modeling tomorrow. Okay. First of all, you should know why we are going to predict the structure of a protein and what is the benefit by predicting that structure. Means why we are going to predict the structure and how we are going to predict the structure of the protein by using in silico means only, because we don't have NMR or X-ray crystallography in bioinformatics, but we can propose that this is the available structure after by using this computational means or bioinformatics means. First of all, what is homology modeling? Homology modeling is known as comparative modeling of proteins, which is a technique that allows to construct unknown resolution of atoms or models and model the target proteins from its amino acid sequences by comparing the three-dimensional structure of related proteins as a template that it will use as a template, and it will model the protein. Means for homology modeling, we'll write homology modeling is known as comparative modeling of proteins. Please write this. Homology modeling is known as comparative modeling of proteins. This technique allows to construct unknown atomic resolutions of model, unknown atomic resolutions of model of a target protein by using its amino acid sequences and it will use a template protein with already available three-dimensional structure in protein data bank database by experimental means. In protein data bank database, PDB, protein data bank database by experimental means. Okay. First of all, what are the advantages to find a structure? Please write what are the advantages to find the structure. It can find the location of first write and then I'll explain. It can find the location of alpha carbons of key residues inside a folded protein. Structural functional relationships. This is the second point. Structural means the functions on the basis of structures, known as structural functional relationships can easily be examined. The position of, third point, the position of conserved regions means we have found the conserved signature sequences of proteins in our hypothetical proteins. What is the position? Either they are inside, either they are outside, in surface, or what is the position of those conserved residues, the key amino acids which are available for which are behaving as the active sites, binding pockets for the ligands. Means you have to write the position of conserved regions of the protein surface can help to identify active sites, binding pockets, and these sites can be used as drug docking. These sites can be used as drug docking in order to enhance or reduce the particular function of a protein. Okay, means first of all we are going to model a three-dimensional structure of a protein. Okay, first of all, why we are going to model that protein? This is the main thing. Maybe we are going to analyze some functional structural relationships. We are going to find some drug designing pockets, drug designing sites. We have to identify some active sites of the protein. that we can bind and stop the function of that protein, or we can enhance the function of that protein by binding those active sites. And first of all, we are going to use homology modeling method. By this homology modeling method, what we can do, we'll go to the protein data bank database, which has all the information about already determined structures. Okay, we'll compare our sequence with protein data bank database. Okay, when we are going to compare our protein sequence with all the structures, we'll be able to identify the sites of our protein and the structures of that particular part, and we can easily model our protein. First of all, what are the steps of homology modeling? There are main 7 steps in homology modeling. Please write. The first step is template recognition, and initial alignment. You can say identification of template as well. First step is identification of template. What it means? When we are maybe you all know what is BLAST. Previously, we have done BLAST by using non-redundant database. Do you remember that?
Sir.
We have used non-redundant database for comparing our sequences. Now, what will we do? Please remember this point. We'll pick a protein which is unknown, or the protein which don't have any structural information, and we'll blast that protein with protein data bank database instead of non-redundant database. Because for non-redundant database, whatever information is available will compare, but right now we are going to model our protein, so we have to compare our protein with the structural information only, and structural information is present in protein data bank database. Means this time we'll go for blast, and by selecting protein data bank database. Okay, this part is clear. Why we will do this? I'll tell you. By comparing our protein with protein data bank database, we'll get the structural information of related proteins, which is similar, that when we are going to do blast analysis, similar proteins or similar function on the basis of sequence similarity, it will come out. Now, on the basis of sequence similarity, what is the structural information of the particular bits of the sequence, they will come out, and on the basis of similarity and identity, we will select the particular proteins on the basis of which we will be able to model our protein. That is known as template. Means what is the protein that we have selected in order to model our protein? That is the template. Firstly, we have to identify that template with maximum similarity or identity. After that, firstly we have selected that template, and we'll model our protein on the basis of side chains or loops or whatever the structural information. On the basis of that structural information, we'll model our own protein. If you want to write about template recognition, you can easily write template selection. Please write this. Template selection involves blast with protein data bank database if similarity of the top hits, this is also a main point, if similarity of the top hit is more than at least 33 to 35%, or more than that, means if it is less than 33%, then we will not do homology modeling. Then there is a separate method which is known as threading, but right now we are going to do homology modeling. If similarity is it's okay. Am I audible?
No, you are audible, but I can hear some noise.
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay, so you're comfortable if you switch off the fan?
No problem. Hardly it will take 15 minutes, I think. And
Okay.
we'll do all these things using experiment tomorrow in our practical class. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Where was I? Template recognition. Okay. If similarity of our protein with selected template is more than 33%, then we'll select that protein as a good template. If the information is less than 33%, then we'll not select that protein as a template for our structure prediction, which is the first step of homology modeling. Okay. For second step, alignment correction. What is alignment correction? First of all, we have selected a protein. Okay. First of all, we have selected a protein for which we want to model a protein, model a three-dimensional structure. And that protein is similar to some protein available in protein data bank. Okay. But which part is similar to that protein? Functional part is similar or not? This is the main point. If functional part is not similar, then we will not select that protein as a template. Because if side chains are similar, but functional part is not similar, then it is useless to select that particular protein for our structural analysis, as structural functional relationships will not be determined on the basis of only side chains or only other parts beside this functional part. Okay. So,
Sir, could you please repeat after the good template part? I couldn't get it.
what you are saying? Please ask again. You are not audible to me, please.
Sir, I was saying, could you please repeat after considering the protein as a good template part?
Template part, okay. When you have BLAST your sequence with protein data bank, okay, and the top hit is less than 33%, this you will not consider that. If top hit is more than 33%, then you will select that protein as a good template. Means your protein is not template, you are selecting a template from protein data bank database. Okay. If it is more than 33% similar to with your protein, then you can select that protein as a good template for your protein. And be sure that.
So why have we set the threshold as to be 33 to 35% and nothing less than that?
Actually, this is the algorithm of this homology modeling method. And if it is less than 33%, then there is another method which is known as threading. Okay, there are two separate methods.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the threading is the separate method. You have actually missed the initial part that I have told, that there are two methods. One is homology modeling, one is threading. If it is similar, more than 33% similarity, then we'll select homology modeling. If it is less than 33%, then there are some alternative ways. Because if it is less than 33%, then what is the mean of this homology? Because this is based on homology, na? That's why we have to consider at least 33% homology. Okay. This is the homology modeling method that we are doing, and at least 33% similarity is important. And in the second step, we will extract the sequence of that structural protein, and we will extract we have our own protein. We'll align these proteins, means the template we have selected and our protein will align, means we'll align to find that conserved part is aligning or not. Maybe you know how to align a protein? Please tell me.
Yes, sir. Cluster W you told us, right?
Yes,
Aligning.
yeah. You have to align that protein after finding the conserved, and you will see that conserved part is aligning or not. That is the main thing. Okay. So second step is alignment correction. Okay.
But then why are we basically doing a normal class with the protein data bank and not doing it for the conserved sequence itself? That whatever template that we have, why don't we blast it directly to the conserved sequence when we have to align it ultimately with the classical W or any bioedit thing?
You are saying why we are going towards a protein data bank, because for any functional protein there are not there is no structural information in bits. Structural information is available for a whole protein. Okay, for a whole protein you have to select a template for a whole protein, and then you will go towards the conserved regions or functional regions, because for whole protein there may be some sites which are functionally important, and then you will align, because functional information is available in protein data bank database, and for structural information is available in protein data bank database. That's why we have to align with protein data bank database, and by using other software where other database where conserved sequences are available, you can easily find the conserved sequences are the functional part, and then you can align two proteins, the template and the query that we are providing, that we have selected for our analysis. Okay.
So basically, we are basically shortlisting things and then moving forward.
Yeah, really. Firstly, we have shortlisted. Actually, you are going to characterize a protein on the basis of sequence analysis and structural analysis. On the basis of sequence analysis, you have characterized by selecting conserved domains, right? When you have conserved domains, then you will go for the structural part. If you go directly towards structural parts without knowing the conserved regions, then there is no fun of that. Okay. Then if you have conserved regions, then you are going towards structural part. In structural part, you have to ensure that conserved region is also aligning with the selected templates. Okay. And if you are going to find the alignment with conserved regions, the conserved domain databases are already available that we have done during our sequence analysis. This is the structural analysis. For structural analysis, you have to extract the structure of the whole protein which is available in the protein data bank database, and you will align both proteins in order to find the similarity and in order to find the alignment between the conserved regions, so that you will go further for that modeling step. Okay. And third step is basically backbone generation. Backbone generation is mainly when you are going to model a protein, when you are going to model a protein and you have aligned the sequences. Okay. What is the conformational means what is the how the protein is folded and how your protein can fold on the basis of the template. You have to see when the alignment is correct, what is the backbone of the target proteins can be predicted. Okay, that we will do in our practical, and you may easily get. Means when you have selected a backbone, then you basically you can easily say the coordinates of template backbone are copied towards the target. Means there is a three-dimensional structure. There are some certain coordinates for template that you have selected. The backbone will be same for your protein as well. On the basis of first two steps, third step will be you can perform the third step only. Okay, but right now there are some databases, there are some tools that can skip this backbone generation. They also skip loop modeling. They will directly generate, but concept is important. When you have selected a template, what is the overall what are the overall coordinates of that template that is similar to your protein that you are going to model now. If there is an error, then you are not able to model your protein, and in the validation step your protein will fail. Means you are not able to validate your protein by using this in silico means only. Okay, these are the basic.
Sir,
Yes,
so
please.
you said in the second step we're supposed to align our whatever blast sequence that we have, that it is aligning with the conserved part, right? This is the
Yes, yes,
second step.
yes,
What
yes.
if it is not aligning completely with the conserved part? Is there a threshold for that as well?
If it is not aligning with the this our this if it is not aligning with our conserved parts, you are saying this, then we will not select that protein that I have told as a top template. Then you have to go, for example, let me clear this again. If you are getting a protein with 90% similarity, for example 33, basically a threshold value that below 33 you can't select a protein. Okay, if your protein is 90% similar, other protein is 89% similar, and then other protein which is 70% similar, and in 75% similar protein which is aligning to your conserved part, but a 90% protein which is not similar aligning to your conserved part, then which template you will select?
One that is aligning with the conserved part.
Yes, that is the thing. Because you ensure that your functional part is aligning. Because if your functional part is aligning, then you can assess structural functional aspect of that protein after
So
modeling.
can't it be possible, for example, we're just aligning it with the conserved part which is already available in the database. There's quite a possibility that protein that we are working over, उसका conserved part कुछ और है.
When you okay, you are saying that conserved part is separate and your protein is separate. Okay, it's like that.
Yeah,
Okay, this is actually one step ahead. You have to select multiple templates.
I have to select multiple templates.
Yes. In order to complete your protein, if it is 33% similar, then you have to select. So nice, nice. If it is 33% similar with one template, 33% with other template, 3, 4, 5, you can select multiple templates in order to model your protein. It is the part when your protein is really don't have any template which is with good similarity or with good identity. That is the one step ahead. But in basics, you just try to know that you have to select a protein. You have to select a template of your protein. After that template, you have to select the conserved part and go for further this modeling part. After that modeling part, you have to validate your protein. This is just for learning. After that, there are 5 or 10, 5 or 6 more steps. When you have, what are the possibilities? Might be there is no conserved region, 50% similar conserved region, 90% conserved region similar. And then there are some other parts. If it is less than 33%, there are some other things. But before all those things, you should know first how to model a structure of a protein.
So basically, what you're trying to make us understand is that we have to first give our protein a structure, and then we'll do the further analysis that if it has a conserved region or what exactly is its function and what all characteristic it possesses.
Yes, yes, what, please. What is your query? I'm not getting.
I am just saying that basically what you're trying to make us understand is that whatever template that we have, we will first give it a structure to the template, and then we'll do a further analysis wherein we'll study the basic characteristics of our protein.
Basic characteristics of firstly we will go for the structural and then basic characteristics of proteins means I'm not getting you. Please elaborate.
For example, I'm just going forward with the thought that the template that I've selected, being it the multiple templates and everything, it does not have a conserved region. So the conserved region part will be after making the model, after having a structure in front of me.
When you will model your protein, after that you will again highlight your conserved part. and you will see the interaction of your template and your protein, how much distance is there, how much the loop is outside the structure. Then again you will highlight that conserved part that I have shown in my publication as well.
Could you please share that publication link?
Link, I'll send you link, no problem, because
Thank you.
yeah, because that is actually that is the part when you know each and everything about structure, then you will go at that level. Okay, if you don't have any idea how to model a structure, that is really 2 or 3 steps ahead, that when there is a problem, then what to do, there is another problem, then what to do. But for basics, they don't know what is structure first, and then how to model a structure. They should know these basic things that I am telling right now. Okay, then this is the third part. Yes, please. Anybody's?
Yeah, actually one question, sir. So can you just take one protein sequence example and show what is the function and what is the structure difference there?
What is the function and what is the structural difference there? I will take example. I will model a protein in front of you, but in tomorrow class, that is in our practical class. Okay, today I'm just telling basics, means what to do and how to do. First of all, we will select a template, and then we'll align our template with our structure, and then we'll see that conserved regions are aligning or not, functional part is aligning or not. If it is not aligning, then we'll go for other protein. If it is not aligning, then we'll go for other protein. There are a lot of hits. We'll start from top hit and then second, third, fourth, fifth. When we get the conserved part is aligning, conserved part doesn't mean, conserved part means the functional part is aligning. That is our main target, because we are going to analyze the hypothetical proteins right now. If we are going to analyze the sequences with proper functions, then you can really ignore, because that is based on some paralogs, homologs, or means that is more than 90 to 95% similarity. But in protein data bank database, this is not a very big database, but NCBI non-redundant database is very huge database. But if you are not able to find the function in that sequence level, and you are going to select conserved regions, and on the basis of conserved regions you are going to characterize your protein, then you should ensure that these conserved regions are also present in structural part. Okay, this is the main thing, and these are the basically 3 steps. Then there is another step. There are some 7 steps: backbone generation, loop modeling, and I think I will show you in experiment. Then things will more clear to you, and final model will come, and you can easily view that model by using a software. Please install that software, a tool, that is a software as well, known as PyMol. Please install in your computers, so that we'll do some experiment tomorrow. First, I will show you only online tools. Then I'll show you some good tool which really everybody is using in this in India or in abroad. That is known as Modeler tool. While using Modeler, all the things will clear to you, because it will use some programming known as Python scripts. Okay, then we'll go for align our sequences. We'll go for some loop modeling, then backbone generation. But that is really a very big thing. Even many bioinformaticians, they don't know how to run a modeler. I will tell you how to run a modeler, but before modeler, I'll suggest I'll do some online tools, the algorithm of backbone generation, algorithm of this loop modeling, algorithm of alignments, algorithm of all these things is already inbuilt in those tools. Then we'll model our tool that will automatically give us some template as well, and it will give us some identity as well. This is a suitable template. This is the identity of this template with our protein that we have selected, and this is the probable structure. And how to validate that structure, this is also a big issue. We have to validate that structure by using some maybe you are aware of this Ramachandran plot. Okay, we'll analyze the Ramachandran plot, and we'll see that how many residues are present in allowed region in that structure, and if it is more than 90%, then the structure will considered as a pass model for further analysis. After the validation of structure, we'll go for molecular simulations and dynamics. Means what is the stability of that structure? Okay. Before that, you have to model the protein, and when you have modeled your protein, you have to basically select the residues which has an important function. Okay, how to select that I will show you tomorrow while using structural viewing tool. This is known as PyMol. Please install PyMol in your computers. PyMol. Okay, then we'll start our practical. Maybe things will more clear to you. Okay, because I know this is a theoretical class. There are a lot of things. If sequence is not present, if functional part is not present, if only one part is present, if only that part is present, how to do all the things have the solutions, but up to higher level. Okay, in basic level, you just try to model a simple structure by using simplest method, and then we'll go towards complex methods. Okay, this is the first. Yes, please.
Protein, the database now that you're talking about, is it the UniProt, or there is another protein database specific to
okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I'll show you only BLAST by using Protein Data Bank, because maybe you will be able to find that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, but we'll do practical tomorrow only.
Okay.
So this PyMol, they have to install in Windows or Linux?
It depends. They can install in Windows, they can install in Linux, but for molecular simulation and dynamics, that is maybe 3 or 4 steps ahead. You have to use Linux only.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Is this visible?
Yes.
This is the homepage of BLAST. Maybe everybody knows that I have told you earlier.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
No, we're just reverting to your question.
Okay, we'll paste our sequence here. Okay, but which database we have to select? This is Protein Data Bank proteins. Okay, this is Protein Data Bank proteins, and we have to paste our sequence. Then you can easily BLAST. Either you can select position specific treated BLAST, but try to BLAST P in general. Then I'll go for all these things. Okay, just select Protein Data Bank database and paste your protein, and then BLAST. It will take some time, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It will give you a lot of templates like before that we have used. At that time, BLAST provided us the results related to this accession numbers, but if we are going to BLAST our sequence with Protein Data Bank proteins, it will give us PDB IDs. Okay, now what is Protein Data Bank database? You can easily find this by Google Protein Data Bank database. There is a information about sequence structures. This is the homepage of Protein Data Bank database. Okay, this is the structural, means all the structures are available. You can enter the name, means what kind of structure is there, what is the functional part, means you can easily find your proteins by using the ID that it will provide after the BLAST results. Okay, that we'll do tomorrow. Okay, but by using some,
but in the
yes,
in
yes,
the down
yes.
in the list of databases that you showed, there is UniProt also, right? So that's also a protein database, right? So what is the difference between this database and the UniProt?
UniProt database is basically, I told you earlier, this is the protein database which has the sequences. Now it is going to share some structural information from PDB as well. But in UniProt, it has only sequences and functional information of those based on sequences only. Okay, in NCBI, there is no structural information, but there is a lot of data that we have seen. Okay, but when we are going to make a composite database that I have told you earlier, it will integrate all those databases. One has structural information, other has sequence information, other has some physiochemical information. Then it will integrate all these things. But for UniProt database, it just has the sequences. It will blast your sequences as well, but only on the, basically UniProt is consisting of only protein sequences. There is no nucleotide sequences in UniProt.
Yeah, that's okay. But when we are working with proteins, that should not
Yes.
be enough, is what you're saying.
Yeah. When we are working with the proteins, that.
But that is not enough, is it? UniProt. When
No, okay. If you want to explore UniProt as well, then I'll elaborate some task. No problem. I will show you. First, we have extracted our protein from NCBI. Okay. Then, what is the UniProt ID of that protein? We'll explore UniProt as well. And on the basis of UniProt ID and CBI ID, we'll go towards protein data bank, because sequence will be similar. Only ID is different. They have similar ID presented. No, ID is different. NCBI has its own ID. This UniProt has its own ID. Maybe some other databases, they have own ID. Okay. You can easily select a sequence from NCBI and you can compare it with UniProt. You can easily find this sequence is present in UniProt as well or NCBI as well with the particular accession number. Okay, means same information is here and there, but NCBI, which is a composite database, it can assess the information from other databases as well. Okay, now BLAST, which is also interrelated with NCBI, you can blast your proteins, and after I have shown you in BLAST you can select non-redundant database. In BLAST you can select protein data bank database. If you are going more conserved, then you have to select some particular organism as well. Okay, but right now we don't have any need for a particular organism, because I have already told you please select your own organisms, and after that by one sequence then your idea will elaborate, then you can work, you can enhance your work. Okay, but right now try to extract a protein from NCBI, from UniProt. It's up to you, no problem at all. Okay, if you want to extract the sequence information from UniProt, easily you are welcome to extract your protein from UniProt. If you want to extract protein from NCBI, but I recommend always NCBI, because NCBI is a composite database. It has lot of information from GenBank to UniProt to PFAM to CATH to SCOPE. Means almost every information is interrelated with this NCBI. That's why I'm continuously using this NCBI only. Okay, when you select your protein from NCBI, then go for this BLAST with PDB in structural biology. After that, you will get some templates. After selecting those templates, further analysis we can easily perform. And finally, when we'll be able to model our proteins, then we'll validate that model that we have predicted. And after validation, we'll see the functional part in that structure. That functional part is present in surface, either inside the protein structure. And then we'll select a particular drug for docking for that particular protein. And then before that, we have to check the stability of that structure. Means if we have designed a drug, whether protein is stable or not. If protein is unstable, then where drug will bind. Okay, after that we have to select some active sites. There are some tools which can easily show you what are the active sites of the proteins on the basis of some already available binding pockets in the proteins. Okay, that I'll show you in further other lectures. Once we will model our protein, after that all these things will be clear to you. Okay, but for today class, the main and important thing is how to select your template. Other things you can easily skip by using some online or offline tools as well. But what is the main thing? How to select a template, a good template for homology modeling only. Okay, this is the main thing, that you have to extract a protein sequence with unknown structural information first of all. If structural information is available, then protein data bank will give you directly structure of that protein. Okay, so I am going to select a hypothetical proteins so that their conserved region we have found, and now we'll go with some protein data bank database protein. We'll select a template. After that, we'll model that protein. After the modeling, we'll go for some validation of that protein. Okay, so we're ready for tomorrow lecture with some practical classes, but please install PyMol so that we'll do some practical analysis and your doubts will be clear in that class. I'll start that thing, mining my sequence from basics from NCBI. After that, I'll select a random sequence and I'll go for a conserved domain database. After that, I'll go for this template selection, and then I'll go for multiple sequence alignment. After that, we'll go for structural modeling by using some online tools. Okay.
So when they install all these softwares, is the laptop fine or they need the desktop?
Laptop is fine. No, there is a single tool they have to install right now. They have to install only, I think PyMol is best. Okay. I'll show you some features of PyMol as well, that how to visualize your structure, how to highlight the particular conserved regions, how to transparent your structure. I'll show you some features of PyMol as well, that how to present your structure while in conferences, either in publications. I'll show you that part as well, but that is a other part. First, you should know how to model a protein. That is more important. Before that, for today's lecture, you have to identify the template of that protein. Okay. Okay, be ready with some sequences that are hypothetical for 20 to 40, because means I'm saying try to select hypothetical proteins because I know for hypothetical proteins there is no structural information. You can select sequences according to your own will as well. No problem in this. Okay. But I recommend that try to select hypothetical only, because I know there is no structural information of hypothetical proteins, so that we can easily generate some structural information of hypothetical proteins. Might be helpful for your publication as well, that you have modeled the structure of hypothetical proteins, and based on sequence analysis and structural analysis, you are characterizing a protein, and this protein is very important for you. Okay. And be ready for tomorrow practical. I think that's all for today. And tomorrow I'll clear all your doubts with the practical session. And please install PyMol. That's all for today.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Gagandeep, thank you very much.